So the last part of the list is made up of people who you know to be good customers. You can look inside of your registration system and you can figure out which carrier routes did a lot of good business with you recently, whether you sent brochures to them or not. Which carrier routes are really doing good business for you? Let's throw those carrier routes on there. And again, you can use some forecasting and some trending using your registration data to really project what an ROI from a certain carrier route is going to be, to make sure that you're only including good ROIs, to make sure that by spending less you are making more. And the idea here, of course, is that most of us are pretty similar to our neighbors, and we really need to seek out our good customers because, like as this image is showing you, there's some customers who really look forward to getting that catalog from you every term, and this is what they look like when they search their mailboxes for it. Remember that you are very much like your neighbor. I went a little too fast there, my apologies. This lady is so happy to get the catalog. Do you think her friends or family or her coworkers would feel the same? Well, they probably would. So let's seek out people that are like her and test sending catalogs on some of those people. And that's sort of the more experimental part of the smart mailing list, but it's also the catch-all. So that as you trim off that fat in the past, this allows every carrier route and every customer a chance to get included back on your list in a smart way based on what's good for your business and what's good for them and what they're interested in. So in summary, we're gonna rebuild our smart mailing list here. Remember, the first part is customers in your database, but improved. We're only going to look back at the ones that are very likely of giving us a good ROI. Good ROI, not just high, good. The second piece is likely prospects from the purchase list. This is the improved purchase list from the past. It's too many P's, but you got the idea. We're going to send to carrier routes that have performed well in the past, that have good ROI. That is what that cutoff tells us is an acceptable ROI for our programs. Not just high, not just arbitrarily high, but good. And the last piece is the more experimental piece. This is the lady who's really excited to get the catalog out of her mailbox. Similar to the above, this is going to look at carrier routes all of the time, whether you sent to them or not. If you got a lot of business out of those carrier routes in a certain term, you think there's a chance you get more out of it next term if you sent extra catalogs there? Yeah, share the word with people that are similar to those good customers of yours. So this is how the smart mailing list combines program goals, marketing goals, and a simple ROI and historical data to make improvements to your marketing. This is what allows you to make more money. That is the good ROI, not just high, good ROI, make more money and spend less money at the same time. But without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and conclude, and I wanted to give everybody a couple of takeaways. The first one, please remember to always measure. This is something that we pride ourselves on doing at JMH. It's so important to do, and if you find yourself forgetting, then buy yourself a ruler and stick it in your belt or in your purse or your pocket, or carry it with you everywhere you go to remind yourself to always wonder about the numbers and wonder about them judiciously. Once you figure out what your numbers are, you can let them work for you like this process does to make things better all of the time. And with a little practice, and just once you get the whole process set up, it's going to free up time of your staff. It's going to make you more efficient because you'll be doing less. You'll be spending less money, and you'll be getting more money out of it. You'll be taking that fat catalog, those fat brochures, and making them leaner. And as a bonus, I just wanted to add, it's important to really use the data to tell you how many catalogs you should send. I mean, how many of us wonder all the time, is it really how many we should send? How many should we cut? Should we cut it all? Well, the numbers can tell you. The numbers can tell you exactly. And using this process, you can have your marketing department meet its budgeting goals, meaning that you can aggressively lower a budget for a certain brochure mailing to free up money for other activities that you think are important in these tough times. And at the same time doing that, you're going to meet or exceed your revenue goals for your programs. So I hope that's the gist of what everybody got out of today. Without further ado, then, I'd like to open it up for questions. If we run out of time, please feel free to email me at jensign@jmhconsulting.com. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I love to talk about these things in case you couldn't tell. But let's go ahead, and I think we got a couple of questions in here. So here's one. this is a question, I guess, about the ROI. The question is the profit over cost or sales over cost? Yeah, and profit, yeah, exactly right. Kimberly asked this question. Profit implies that expenses have been removed. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Profit actually isn't the right term to use, and it kind of depends, because profit could include indirect costs as well. But the idea for the ROI and for getting that cutoff of good ROI versus bad ROI is to just subtract the direct expenses, the direct marketing expenses from that effort, and look at the direct revenue that was generated from whoever that target was. So that was that's a very good question and very important clarification there. Another question here was, no, of course, the smart mailing list. As I mentioned earlier, the question about is this presentation really about catalogs? And I talk about catalogs all the time because, as I mentioned, they're the flagship. They cost a lot of money, and they take a lot of time, but substantially less than postcards and other types of brochures. But no, the direct mail, all direct mail activities can benefit from a smart mailing list, and they should. They absolutely should. So this process is going to apply across the board. The only thing it really won't help out is something that you don't need an address for. This process is designed to really look at the way the post office has laid out the entire U.S. or whoever you're looking at, if it's not the United States Postal Service, and really make ourselves more efficient at sending to those types of addresses. So that was a good question, Amanda, and keep that in mind. This process is for any form of direct mail, whether that's a letter or a postcard or a catalog or a generic brochure. It's a very good question. Wow, we got a lot of good questions. I'm loving this. Another question from Margaret here. So she asks, she's heard that carrier doesn't apply if you mail to business rather than home addresses. Is this true? I'm not entirely sure. I think that you're right there. The idea with the carrier routes being a subdivision of home addresses. And I do know businesses do fit into carrier routes. So if you look at the demographics at a carrier route level, you get some interesting carrier routes. You'll have some carrier routes that have no people living in them, but they have a lot of addresses that get sent to. And those might be things like actually Emory campus. There's a lot of mail that goes there, but nobody really resides there, so it's kind of it's interesting. The addresses are there, but people don't live there in those households or those homes. And it all kind of depends on how your clearinghouse is going to pull those carrier routes. So also apartment complexes are going to make certain carrier routes really large in comparison to others. But in general, your clearinghouse could really help you get a handle on this, depending on what types of catalogs or brochures you want to send, whether it's professional or not. Of course, professional types of brochures should be going to business addresses, but definitely clearinghouse could help out with that. Could clear that up. Here's a question from Lisa. What trends do you see in the continuing education arena in response to emphasis on the environment, i.e. Mailing print catalogs versus driving prospects to online brochures? If I understand the question correctly, in general, I think what you're talking about here is the question of should these mailed brochures be driving people to online sources of information as well, or registration? And if that's the question, absolutely. That's becoming the norm these days, and frankly, when you print off a whole bunch of information on a brochure and send it to people, they're really not likely to read the entire thing. Whereas if you give them a website that helps them sort of navigate through your information, it's a lot more user-friendly. So I think the trend is, it's not even just in continuing education, I think is in general, this response has been that that's the way to go. The printed brochure has its place, and it always will, but its purpose should probably be to drive people to other sources of information that are more efficient and a lot more user-friendly. So it's a good question. And just one more plug really quickly. For everyone, I have an article on the JMH website that you can find at jmhconsulting.com/resources. And it talks about the smart mailing list in more detail in case anybody's curious about it. A little more mathematical, but for extra information, feel free to visit our site. And thank you everybody so much for allowing me to speak today.
That'd be great. And I assume that they would contact, if anybody's interested to learn more about what JMH can do for their department, they could contact you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Once again, thanks to everyone for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one on August 11th. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.